this is how I answered the activity. Here, as you can see, I have all the datas. And here I have x times y, the value of x times y, x squared, and then y squared. And then in the end, I sum it all up. The sum of x, sum of y, sum of x times y, sum of x squared, and then the sum of all the y squared. Here I have the sum of x that is squared, and then here is the sum of y that is squared. Here I have the sum of x divided by the sample size, which is 74. And same goes with this one, sum of y divided by the sample size of 74. So I then move on to the correlation coefficient. Here you have this one, A77, sample size times uh, sample size times sum of x times y minus sum of x times sum of y, and then this one is uh, for the lower part, then the denominator. Yeah, you have sample size times 79, sum of the summation of x squared time minus, so minus the sum of x, the sum of x that is squared, and then same goes with this one. Uh, what is this? A sample size divided by the summation of the y squared minus the sum of y that is squared, and then here is the square root of this one, and then to get the correlation you just have to divide this one, these two, the these two, you just have to divide these two, the square root and the first one, first first value that we got. And if you want to make your life easier, you just have to type correl and then highlight the datas up here, the datas of x and y, and then you just have to enter, and it's the same. You can never be too sure of your answer, so just check it every time. So there we have our correlation coefficient, and then here we have the regression model. Is that right? Coefficient, rotation. Yes, that's right. Right. And regression model. So here, it's a long process. So I'll just show you here. No, not here. Joke. See here. You have E79, which is the summation of x times y, minus E77, which is the sample size, times C81. This one, the the value that you get when you divide the sum of x to the sample size times the 81, the value that you get when you divide the sum of y to the sample size divided by F79, which is this one, the sum of um the sum of the sum of x squared, the summation of x squared, and then minus A77 sample size times C81 x sum of x divided by the sample size, then squared, we get the value of b. And then for the value of a, we have d81, the sum of y divided by sample size minus c93, the value of b times the value when you divide the sum of x to the sample size. Then you've got a. So that's your regression model. No, 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 not regression. What is this? Re- yeah, regression model. Well, there. So for the t-stat, what I did is I divided it into parts to make it easier. So here is the first part. Regression, the correlation coefficient minus zero. The zero is the value of the null hypothesis, the population in the null hypothesis. And then for the denominator, you have 1 minus C98 squared, which is C98 is the value of the correlation coefficient squared. 1 minus the value of the correlation coefficient squared. And here you have the sample size minus 2. What I did first is divide this two. This one, this one, and then squared, square root of this value. And then this equals this, the value of the correlation coefficient minus the population divided by the square root of this. Then you have your t statistics. So here are my answers that is already in Word. State the null hypothesis. Null is equals to 0. Alternative hypothesis. Population is not equal to 0. So this is the calculation of the correlation coefficient. Interpretation, there is a low correlation. For t statistics, t is equals to 1.4586631. For the comparison, the tabular number of t stat at of t at 1.9935 is greater than the computed statistic that I have, which is 1.4586631 with 2 degrees of freedom and alpha level of 0.5. So the decision rule is false. Do not reject null. Justify decision. The decision is to not reject the null hypothesis, considering that the computed t statistic, when put in two tables, the computed statistic will not fall into the rejected side. Before I forgot, this is the chart. What I did is I just highlighted the values of x and y. And then insert this one, the chart. It already looks like the one up here. And then for the trend line, you just have to go to add chart element, trend line, linear, and that's it. So that's it. I close this.